Before the wide acceptance of drones into modern society, getting recorded video from high up in the air was actually fairly difficult. Sure, helicopters or planes could do it, but those can't safely fly close to the ground, and they don't have the best precision with remaining stable in the air. Drones, on the other hand, solve both of these issues. Because of this, they have managed to capture some rather terrifying things in some out-of-the-way areas throughout the world, from a real-life version of Silent Hill to a village completely drowned and then recovered. There have really been some eerie things seen by these wonderful tools. Make sure to stick around until the end. You wouldn't want to miss the abandoned house of polar bears.
Mija, прекращай.
Here are 15 of the most chilling things caught on drones. Number 15. Illegal video of Niagara Falls. A pair of video daredevils from Russia is getting heat from officials in Canada and the United States after posting illegal videos of themselves scaling Niagara Falls. Vadim Makarov and Vitaly Raskalov of Moscow, who have amassed a large online following for their street art, were recently in the area around the falls and posted a series of videos of their exploits. The videos showed the pair scaling the American Falls, the Horseshoe Falls, and climbing under the Made of Mist boat. The videos have been flagged as inappropriate and have been removed from YouTube, but are still available on Vimeo. The daredevils have not been charged with any crime, but authorities are investigating. Niagara Falls straddles the border between New York and Ontario, and the two governments are both taking the situation very seriously. This act was extremely dangerous and illegal. We will be seeking charges, said New York Parks Commissioner Rose Harvey. People need to understand that this is not a game. This is not something to do for fun. This is dangerous, this is stupid, and it's against the law, added Niagara Parks Police Chief Doug Kane. It's safe to say that neither of them will be climbing the falls again anytime soon. Number 14. The invasive lionfish. A large predatory fish known as the lionfish is wreaking havoc in Caribbean coral reefs. The lionfish is an invasive species, and it's believed that they were introduced to the Caribbean when fish keepers and pet owners released them into the wild. The lionfish is a voracious eater, preying on small fish, crustaceans, and mollusks. This is a problem for the reefs because they compete with native species for food. They also eat juvenile native fish, preventing them from reaching adulthood and reproducing. The lionfish are decimating native fish populations, which in turn hurts the reefs because the reefs need fish to eat the algae that grows on them. The lionfish are difficult to control because they are fast growers and reproduce quickly. They also have no known predators in the Caribbean. Some people are trying to control the lionfish population by eating them, but this is difficult because the fish have poisonous spines and are difficult to prepare in a safe way. The best way to control the lionfish population is to prevent them from being introduced into new areas, but it may be too late for some locations. Number 13. Missing man rescued by drone. A man in Wales who tragically fell while climbing a cliff managed to be rescued thanks to a drone that was being flown by someone on the beach below. David Walsh, 71, had been climbing the cliff face at Rosilly Bay when he lost his grip and fell. Fellow climbers heard his shouts for help and contacted the Coast Guard, who contacted the drone's operator, Mark Williams. Williams, who had been flying the drone for a few minutes, spotted Walsh and directed the Coast Guard to his location. The Coast Guard then scrambled a helicopter, which airlifted Walsh to safety. He was taken to a local hospital for treatment and has since been discharged. Williams said he was flying the drone for about 15 minutes when he heard the cries for help. He said, "I just happened to be at the right place at the right time. I feel like a hero, but it was just a bit of luck. I was in the right place at the right time." Walsh said he was extremely grateful to Williams and the Coast Guard for their help. Number 12. Sharks circling their victims. Drones are an incredible tool that can be used to save a lot of lives, but in doing so, they often reveal some terrifying things that didn't turn out to be life-threatening. In this video, for example, there's a man in the ocean that doesn't seem to be aware whatsoever that there are several sharks circling around him, perhaps debating if he's worth being their next meal. Luckily for him, sharks very rarely attack people without provocation. So these ones were probably more curious than anything else. Despite this, if someone knew they were being circled by sharks, it's very likely that they wouldn't remain peacefully swimming beside them. They might begin to freak out, which might agitate the sharks and cause them to attack. So in this instance, it was probably a good thing that the man didn't know he was in danger. It's an incredibly odd way to think about it, but at least the man got out all right in the end. Number 11. A real-life Silent Hill. The town of Centralia, Pennsylvania is known for its underground coal fires that have been burning since 1962. The town has been slowly abandoned and only a handful of residents still live there. The town's problems began in May of 1962 when a fire in the town's trash dump spread to a nearby coal mine. The mine had been abandoned in the early 1900s, but the fire continued to burn through its coal seams. Over the years, the fire spread beneath the town, causing sinkholes, cracking foundations, and releasing harmful gases into the air. In the 1980s, the state of Pennsylvania condemned all the buildings in the town and offered to buy out the residents. Most of the residents left, but a handful stayed behind. The town has been gradually deteriorating since then, and only around 10 residents still live there. The town is known as a ghost town, and its main street is lined with abandoned buildings. It's truly reminiscent of a real-life Silent Hill. Number 10. Kangaroo takes on drone and wins. A kangaroo has been filmed taking on a drone in Australia and winning. The footage was filmed in the state of New South Wales, where the drone was sent up to film some sheep. The kangaroo was not happy with the drone being in its territory, however, and decided to take matters into its own hands. It leapt up and hit the drone with its paws, causing it to crash to the ground. The kangaroo then stood over the drone and seemed to be protecting it, as if it was its own baby. The footage was filmed by a man named David who said that the kangaroo was very protective of the drone. I think the kangaroo was just being protective of its territory. It was a young joey, so maybe it thought the drone was a threat to its safety. Despite this, watching the massive animal take down the drone is a bit frightening to watch. They're so much more powerful than you would initially think, so it's bizarre to watch a kangaroo take down a drone so effectively. Number 9. Australia's worst fear. Since 1983, Mount Yasur has been in a nearly constant state of eruption, spewing lava high into the air and occasionally sending lava bottles flying over a half-mile from the crater. A few miles away, Mount Monaro has a history of large explosive eruptions, particularly between 1914 and 1915 and in 1951. The most recent eruption in 2005 caused the evacuation of the island's villagers. The eruption destroyed the village. Lava flows covered much of the island and a few lakes formed in the crater. In 2008, Mount Santo had a series of small explosive eruptions and ash plumes, followed by lava flows that traveled about half a mile from the crater. In 2009, Mount Garrett, a large shield volcano in the island of Espiritu Santo, erupted and covered the island with several feet of lava. All of these volcanoes are quite near to Australia's borders, and the country takes their eruptions very seriously, keeping watch 24/7 to make sure they would be safe in case of an accident. Number 8. Burglary in progress. Burglaries often have the ability to ruin people's entire livelihoods, so any technology that makes it easier to stop them is a welcome sight. That's what makes drones such an interesting addition to that arsenal. Recently, a drone was used to stop a burglary when it spotted a group of teens in a business parking lot. Things then got a little weird. The teens were in the parking lot in the early hours of the morning, which was obviously a bit suspicious. A nearby police drone noticed them and began following them, where it was eventually noticed. When the team saw it, however, they decided to book it, which just made the police more wary. The drone was able to follow them and give the police their exact location. And when they were apprehended, police found thousands of dollars worth of stolen jewelry. The whole incident took place in the UK, and it's not the first time that drones have been used to stop crimes. In fact, police in the UK have been using drones to help fight crime for a while now, and they've even used them to catch criminals in the act. It's not clear if this is the first time that a drone has been used to catch a burglar, but it's definitely a sign of things to come. Number 7. The Drowned Village. This ghost town is located in Acerdo, a municipality in the province of Leon in the northwest of Spain. The village became abandoned after a devastating flash flood in 1963, and the floodwaters remained on land, completely submerging the city and destroying all of the lives that had been built up within its borders. It was only recently when the Spanish government was able to remove all of the water. The village was home to around 300 people prior to the flood, and it was a thriving community with a school, a church, and a number of businesses. But the flood changed everything, and the village was left in ruins. The village is said to be haunted by the ghosts of the people who died in the flood, and it's a popular spot for ghost hunters and paranormal investigators. If you're looking for a truly creepy and abandoned place to visit, Acerdo is definitely worth a visit. Number 6. Chinese runaway elephants. You may have heard about these incredible Chinese elephants because their escape was fairly widely broadcasted throughout the world. One of the 6 wild Asian elephants that escaped from a circus in northern Nepal was captured in a forest near the Darchula district in far western Nepal. The other 5 elephants were found in the same forest about 2 days later, but were running away from the forest department officials that were trying to catch them. All 6 of the Asian elephants had been part of a Chinese circus that was touring Nepal when they got out of their cages and ran away into the forest. The animals may have escaped because they were not used to the cold weather in Nepal, officials said. They may have been seeking out some sort of warmth or perhaps a new source of food, considering circuses are widely known for underfeeding or overworking their animals. Hopefully, these elephants are going back to a safe home. Before we go on, do like this video, smash that subscribe button, and click the notification bell right now, or this centipede will crawl on your face while you're sleeping. It's time for today's subscriber pick. This image was submitted by a viewer that observed this terrifying scene happening on the side of a mountain, though they didn't want to get their drone too close in case it was spotted. But it looks like a man in dark clothing carrying another person, probably a girl, towards the edge of the cliff. There are some that claim that the man in dark clothes is the Grim Reaper, though it's impossible to prove from this photograph alone. The person he's holding doesn't seem to be moving, however, so overall it's a very eerie sight to behold. What do you think is going on here? Do you think that the man is the Grim Reaper or just your average run-of-the-mill murderer? Remember to comment down below with the hashtag subscriberpick and let us know what you think. Now on to the next topic. Number 5. The hole draining a lake? Lake Berryessa is a reservoir located in Napa County, California. The reservoir was created by the Monticello Dam, which was built between 1953 and 1957. The dam was built to provide water and hydroelectric power to the surrounding area, and the reservoir is fed by the Puta Creek and has a capacity of 1.6 million feet. The reservoir is home to a variety of fish, including bass, catfish, and trout. It is also a popular recreation spot for boating, swimming, and camping. In 1997, the reservoir was the site of a bizarre natural phenomenon known as the Glory Hole. The Glory Hole is a hole in the lake that is about 200 feet wide and 350 feet deep. The hole is created when the water from the reservoir flows into the hole and then disappears. The Glory Hole is a popular tourist attraction and is definitely the most popular section of the lake. There have been several instances of ducks swimming down into it, though they do not come back out later. Nobody knows exactly why it forms, and it's quite chilling to see in action. Number 4. The moments after disaster. A series of explosions occurred on the 12th of August 2015 at the port of Tijian, China. The first explosions occurred at about 23:30 China Standard Time in a warehouse owned by Ruhai International Logistics, a company that stores and handles hazardous material. The blasts killed 173 people, including 104 firefighters, and injured hundreds of others. It was the deadliest fire in the history of the People's Republic of China, exceeding a previous blaze that killed 162 people in Jilin in September 1983. It was also one of the most devastating industrial accidents in Chinese history, surpassed only by the 1947 Lake Taihu explosion. The explosions caused widespread damage to nearby buildings and structures, including to a nearby residential area. The Dalian International Trade and Convention Center, and a nearby hotel. The blasts also damaged buildings in a 1-kilometer radius. The explosions were so powerful that they could be seen and heard from up to 30 kilometers away and were registered on seismographs as far away as Zhengzhou and Hefei. The cause of the explosions is unknown. An initial investigation suggested that the explosions were caused by an accidental fire that ignited hazardous materials being stored at the warehouse. However, the Chinese government has not released an official report on the cause of the explosions. Number 3. The farming sinkholes of Turkey. Dolusu is a small town in Turkey that is home to a number of strange and unique sinkholes. These sinkholes, which are also known as dolines, are perfectly circular depressions in the ground that can range in size from a few meters to hundreds of meters in diameter. Some of the sinkholes in Dolusu are filled with water, while most are dry. The sinkholes in Dolusu are thought to have been formed by the collapse of underground caves. The caves were likely formed by the erosion of limestone rock by groundwater. Over time, the caves became larger and eventually collapsed, forming the sinkholes that can be seen today. The sinkholes in Dolusu are a popular tourist destination that are known for their beauty. Many are now surrounded by lush vegetation, and some even have small waterfalls. The largest sinkhole in Dolusu is known as the Great Dolusu Sinkhole and is approximately 100 meters in diameter. This sinkhole is the deepest of all sinkholes in Dolusu and is thought to be around 60 meters deep. It has become a popular spot for swimming and diving and is also home to a number of fish and other aquatic creatures. It's interesting that something so eerie has become so loved by the community. Number 2. Crop circles seen from the sky. Earlier this year, a drone was sent over a crop circle that was reported to have been spotted in the Brecon Beacons National Park, Wales. The footage showed what appeared to be a perfect crop circle with a distinct spiral pattern. This isn't the first time that crop circles have been spotted in Wales, with many more reported in the past. However, it's believed that this is the first time that they've been spotted by a drone. The footage was captured by a YouTuber who regularly posts videos of strange phenomena that he captures on his drone. It's not clear who or what created the crop circle, but there are many theories. Some believe that they're created by aliens, while others believe that they're the work of humans. Crop circles are perhaps some of the most controversial sightings out there, with people holding a myriad of different opinions about them throughout the world. Overall, though, they're still quite eerie to see, especially from so high overhead. Number 1. The abandoned house of polar bears. Polar bears are perhaps one of the most interesting animals in the world, simply due to the way they live in such harsh conditions up north. They're so perfectly adapted to it that it's hard to believe that they would need any help from humans, and yet a small group of them on Kalyuchin Island in Russia seems to have taken advantage of some help quite considerably. The island used to be home to an old weather station which very slowly fell out of use and eventually was abandoned altogether. When a man went by the island with his drone, he was shocked to see that there were polar bears living inside the station.
А вот там в действии пожарная сигнализация.
They appear to have completely taken it over for themselves, which is quite interesting. There are even clips that show small polar bear cubs looking out through the window, meaning the parents believed this place was safe enough to bring and raise their young. It's truly quite remarkable to see what nature will do with human-built objects, and often tends to reclaim them for their own personal use. So which of these things do you think are the most chilling? Do you think scientists will ever fully understand these terrifying things caught on camera by drones? Tell us in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps us to understand what kind of videos you like, and that way we can focus more on producing the content that our viewers love. Tap that bell icon if you're always looking to learn new things, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one.